Hello everyone, my name is Deepika Verma, Senior Research Fellow, Batch 2019 under supervision of Professor Rajiv Kumar Sir, Sociology Department. Here in this lecture, I would like to throw some light on the Durkheim's theory and topology of suicide. So let's see what is it. Durkheim has presented his theory of suicide in his famous book Lazy Suicide in 1897. According to him, suicide refers to every case of death resulting directly or indirectly from a positive or negative death performed by the victim himself and which strive to produce this result. Suicide is also a social fact, and social order and disorder are at the very root of suicide. In this way, Durkheim tries to say that suicide is a conscious act and the person concerned is fully aware of its consequences. The person who shoots himself to death or drinks severe poison or jump down from a 10-story building is fully aware about the consequences of such an act. Uh, Durkheim used a number of statistical records to establish this fundamental idea that suicide is also a social fact, and he made use of statistical analysis for two main reasons. These are to refute the theory of suicide based on psychology, biology, genetic, climate, and geographical factors, and to support with empirical evidence his own sociological explanation of suicide. So, with this brief introduction, it is very clear that as Durkheim is uh, in support that all everything that happens is guided by the society. So the act of suicide is also somewhat a consequence which is caused by the social factors. Now let's understand his major ideas behind the theory. First of all, Durkheim displays an extreme form of sociological realism. Now, what this line means, Durkheim is of the firm belief that suicide is not an individual act or a private or personal act. It is caused by some power which is over and above the individual or super individual. It is not a personal situation but a manifestation of social condition. He speaks of suicidal currents as collective tendencies that dominate some vulnerable person. The act of suicide is nothing but the manifestation of these currents. Durkheim has selected the instance or event of suicide to demonstrate the function of sociological theory. Durkheim chooses statistical methods to know the cause of suicide. Durkheim wants to know why people commit suicide, so he chose to think that explanation focusing on psychology of individual were inadequate. Experiments on suicide were obviously out of question, so case studies of past suicide would be of little use because they do not provide reliable generalization all about suicide. Survey methods were hardly appropriate because one cannot survey dead people, but statistics on suicide were readily available and Durkheim chose to analyze them. Uh, in this way, he rejects the extra social factors as the cause of suicide. Uh, According to him, most of the accepted theories of suicide he rejected. Uh, First one is his monographic study demonstrate that heredity, for example, is not a sufficient explanation of suicide. Climatic, geographical factors are equally insufficient as explanatory factors. Likewise, waves of imitation are inadequate explanations. He also established the fact that suicide is not necessarily caused by the psychological factors. Finally, he came to a conclusion that social factors are the real cause of suicide. Suicide is highly an individual act, yet the motives for a suicide can be fully understood only by reference to the social context in which it occurs. In his attempts to substantiate this fact, he came to know that the incident of suicide varied from one social group or setup to another, uh, and uh, did so in a consistent manner over the years. Protestants were more likely to commit suicide than Catholics. People in large cities were more likely to commit suicide than people in small communities. People living in alone were more likely to commit suicide than people living in families. So Durkheim isolated one independent variable that lay behind these differences: the extent to which the individual was integrated in a social bond with other. People with fragile or weak ties to the community are more likely to take their own lives than people who have stronger ties. In this way, he talks about four different types of suicide that occur. First is egoistic suicide, the second is altruistic suicide, third is anomic suicide, and fourth is fatalistic suicide. So let's see them one by one. Egoistic suicide is a product of relatively weak group integration. It takes place as a result of extreme loneliness and also out of excess individualism. When man becomes detached from society and when the bond that previously uh, had tied them to their fellow beings became loose, they are more prone to egoistic suicide. According to Durkheim, egoistic suicide are committed by those individuals who have the tendency to shut themselves within themselves. Such individuals feel offended, hurt, and ignored. Introvertive trends gain upper hand in them. Egoistic persons are aloof and cut off from the mainstream of society and do not take full interest in social matters. Such persons get alienated and find it difficult to cope with social annihilation and feel impelled to commit suicide. Durkheim's belief is that lack of integration of the individual in the social group is the main cause for egoistic suicide. Durkheim studied various degrees of integration of individuals in their religion, family, political, and national communities. he concluded that Catholics were comparatively uh, less prone to suicides than Protestants. He also found that Catholicism is able to integrate the members more fully into its folds. On the other hand, Protestantism fosters a spirit of free inquiry, permits greater individual freedom, like hierarchic organization, and has fewer common beliefs and practices. Hence, Durkheim generalized that lack of integration is the main cause of egoistic suicide. And next, the opposite to this concept is altruistic suicide, which means too much integration. In this kind of suicide, it takes place in the form of a sacrifice in which an individual ends his life by heroic means or to promote a cause or an ideal which is very clear to him. It results from the over integration of individual into his group. In simple words, altruistic suicide is taking of one's own life for the sake of a cause. It means that every high level of social solidarity induces suicide. Let's understand this with the help of some examples. Uh, there is a practice of sati which was once in practice in North India. It is an example of altruistic suicide. Self-immolation by Buddhist monks, self-destruction in nirvana under in many religions are found in the cause of ancient Hindu sages represent other variants of altruistic suicide. In this way, uh, in this way, uh, altruistic suicide is prevalent when a person is ready to sacrifice his life for a great cause, principle, ideal, or value. Next is anomic suicide. Uh, when there is not enough regulation in the society, then this happens. The breakdown of social norms and sudden social changes that are characteristic of modern times encourage anomic suicide. When the collective conscience weakens, men fell victim to anomic suicide. Without the social backing to which one is accustomed, life is judged to be not worthy continuing. According to Durkheim, at times when social relations get disturbed, both personal and social ethics become casualties. A sudden change in social life and in social relationship paves way for suicide. If the changes are sudden, adjustment becomes difficult, and those who do not get adjusted to change commit suicide. It is this social disturbance which led to suicide. According to Durkheim, not only economic disaster and industrial crisis, but even sudden economic prosperity can cause disruption and deregulation and finally suicide. Next is fatalistic suicide. In this suicide, there is too much regulation at a certain situation. For example, a person living in so much regularities, so much rules, so much restrictions, and like in jail or in a concentration camp, which was in history, all have studied. Then too much regulations can be critical for a person to survive, and in this way person is more prone to commit suicide. This type of suicide is known as fatalistic suicide. I hope all the concepts are clear to everyone. Thank you so much. I have now I am ending this lecture here. Thank you.